Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United of the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Truro City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast in association with Lucky Star Gin. If you are a regular listener, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you sharing your time with us. And if you're a new listener even, you're very, very welcome. I hope you come back again. I'm your host, Mike, and joining me today, flying solo, is Mark. Please do like, share, engage with the social medias at Sutton Podcast. Give us the thumbs up, give us comments, give us shares, all the rest of it. It really helps get the podcast in front of new eyes and helps us grow. So, Mark, nice long weekend. How are you?
It was a good weekend. I think most Sutton fans who went down enjoyed it, not just for the result, but for the various activities that went on around the game. I think quite a few of us stayed over, some of us 2 nights, but others did it as a day trip. So that was quite an achievement. It's possible to do it. Obviously, you spend most of the day travelling. It's 4.5 hours each way by train, I think. There were, I think, 94 of us. That was the official figure anyway. I had the impression there were a few more than that, but maybe a few of our fans sneaked in under the radar. Let's say no more about that.
Yeah, there was a thing about the tickets, wasn't it? They suddenly decided that 8 o'clock or something on a Thursday. Oh, by the way, we're not filling them from 12 to. I think if you bought a home ticket, they escorted you around. Still no idea what that was for, but right. So, just very quickly in club news, there's only one real topic of conversation, and we're going to have a very quick match report from George. Going to come in now.
Just finished here. A very cold Bowers and Pitsy. A tight affair. Ultimately decided by a beautiful curling effort from Sutton striker. Very tight game. Good game of football. Lot of quality. Ball on the floor. Really good game.
The ladies team, they won today 3-2, and they are into the 3rd round of the FA Cup for the first time in their history, our history, sorry. So that's massive congratulations, and look forward to who we get in the 3rd round. I believe that's where the 2nd tier teams come in, not the WSL teams, but the 2nd tier teams come in. So the chance that we could have Palace, I think, is still on. Hopefully Palace at home, not Palace away, because that would be very confusing. But yeah, massive congratulations, and amazing. We were 3-2 up in that game, and then they came back to 3-1. We held on. So same scoreline as we had, but slightly calmer way of doing it. And I just read before coming on the forum that someone who was watching said there was some personal abuse directed towards our bench from their bench, which obviously I don't know anything about other than Lucy handled it very, very well, was called a failed referee and all sorts of other things. We shall see what that was about, but I'm sure she won't care because we're in the hat for the next round. Going into this game, Mark, did you have any expectations or just the normal hopes? And did the lineup throw any surprises for you?
I didn't have any particular expectations. Obviously, you always hope for a good result. If I'd been pressed, I'd probably have predicted a draw because that's generally my default. And away to Truro felt a bit like away to Morecambe, obviously different parts of the country, but they're both sides that are down, both below us now, of course, down at the wrong end of the table. So I was obviously hoping for a win, and most importantly, hoping we'd avoid defeat. As for the lineup, the only real surprise was Osman Foye starting, but obviously we're a bit short of forwards at the moment. Nadders appears to be still unfit, so it was the option of him or Brandon, and Chris seemed to think Brandon is more effective as an impact substitute, and I can understand that. So Foye was then sort of the obvious choice to start. So I think that was the only change from the previous Saturday against Halifax, in which Brandon started and the new guy came on as a sub in the second half. It was the reverse of that yesterday.
Yeah, I think Chris has actually said to Brandon, "Don't be too good coming off the bench, because otherwise that's what's going to happen." I mean, first away win of the season.
Yeah.
Come quite late in the season, but how
first away win in the league? We have, of course, won at Guildford
league, sorry, yeah,
in
first,
the Surrey Senior Cup,
yeah.
as I had to point out on the socials earlier to our media guys.
Yeah, but how vital is that for the morale now, kind of coming to the sort of the lots of games coming thick and fast throughout the sort of December, January period, and does it just get that duck off our back, or was it really not that bothered?
I think it's quite important. You know, if you're going to be doing well, you always want to get some away wins under your belt. Obviously, our home form up until lately has been pretty poor. That seems to be improving, but I think the fact that we can deliver an away win as well is a sort of confirmation that we're on the upward curve now. Results are improving both at home and away. So I think that was an important result, not just because Truro were another side down the bottom of the table, we put some daylight between us and them, but also because it gives the whole team a bit more confidence that they can go to an away ground a long way from home and get the 3 points.
Yeah, so we're now we're unbeaten in 5 or 6 if you count the Surrey Senior Cup. Some people want to and some people don't want to, but definitely the last 4 in the league, we're unbeaten in 4.
Yeah.
Chris obviously talks about the momentum a lot, the mini runs and so on. How do you see that as being important? Because I mean that's I think our longest of the season in the league, definitely with the 4 unbeaten. How important is that? Is that all building the same confidence and all the rest of it?
Yeah, it builds confidence, it builds team spirit, and I think the important thing is just to keep it going. Obviously, we've got a home game against Gateshead next Saturday, which I suspect we'll come on to later. But then after Christmas, the fixtures get a lot more difficult. Obviously, we've got Aldershot at home on Boxing Day, but then we're playing 4 of the top 7, I think, in successive league fixtures. So there are big challenges coming up, you know, as we go into winter. And I think Chris will want to go into that run of difficult fixtures with the team in good form. So we just want to keep this momentum going. I'm sure that's going to be his attitude.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a big game next week, which, as you said, we will come on. So I mean, the first half, it's a bit cagey. It was there was chances for them, definitely. Obviously, it's difficult when you're watching the game knowing what the result is, but there was chances for them. But Jaden broke the deadlock. I think, if I remember, we had there was Jack and Dave involved in the build up, and it was a bit of a difficult angle through lots and lots of legs. How important was that goal, and how were you feeling with that just before half time?
Yeah, up until that point, I think Truro had been the better side, not by much, but they probably had the better chances. That they forced one pretty good save from Tommy Reid, but by and large, defences had been on top up to that point. So you were kind of hoping we just get to half time 0-0, and then maybe change things in the second half. And then, as you say, that goal was scored. I think it was 44 minutes or thereabouts. A good run from Jack Taylor. We've got to be careful which Taylor we're talking about, of course. And the ball was cleared. It went straight to Jaden Harris, who just returned the ball. And it looked to me as if Foyer would score, but in fact, Paul Loughlin confirmed this, that Foyer just jumped over the ball, kind of a dummy, which may have thrown the keeper. And the ball went straight under him and into the corner of the net, 1-0.
Perfect. I mean, one of their players got injured either in the build-up or shortly around then. Did you see that? I haven't actually looked up to see if any more information's on that.
It was at the far end of the pitch. Yeah, we didn't really see exactly. I don't think there was any fault attributed to any of our players. The pitch was quite wet. There'd been a lot of rain, and I don't know, but I suspect what happened is that the guy caught his studs in the turf, maybe as he was turning. And I listened to the interview with the Truro manager, John Askey. At the time, he wasn't sure what the injury was, but he thought it might be a knee injury. So, I mean, it was obviously quite serious because they brought a stretcher on. Both medical teams were on. I think I heard he was given gas and air. So it sounds a really nasty injury. He was obviously stretchered off and went to hospital. I've not heard anything since then. I did check Truro's X feed just like 20 minutes ago, and there was no update at that point. So we just have to wait and see. But obviously, both sets of players. But luckily, it came just before half time, so there was opportunity to sort of take a deep breath and recharge for the second half.
Yeah. Obviously, everyone at Sutton wishes him well. I know Chris has already said that. It was a weird one because there was seconds left, and everyone was out there for I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes, and then the game restarted and was finished within about 30, 45 seconds. It's like, why didn't you blow up beforehand and say, go on, let's go in, it's fine. It's, but we then, shortly after the second half, we doubled our lead. How were you feeling 2-0 away? I mean, it's only a few weeks since we were winning nice 2-0 away at Wildstone. But how were you feeling 2-0 away on a nice weekender? Yeah,
I mean, that was great. And we went 2-0 up. And at that point, I think most of us felt, well, we can go on and win this, Great goal from Kai Jennings. Great shot. Really powerful shot volley into the roof of the net. Terrific goal. So that obviously added to the pleasure. The fact it was such a great goal, and it put us 2-0 up. It was a really good feeling at the away end at that point.
And then, I mean, was it again? It's slightly biased when you're watching it back because things. It seemed like they just from somewhere got some impetus and got a bit of like, right, we're getting back into this, or was it we were doing that dropping off thing and let them back into the game? 2 goals in quick succession again. What do you put that down to? Was it a wobble? Was it just they sort of stepped up a little bit?
I think Truro might argue that the 2-0 lead flattered us slightly. I mean, on the balance of play up until that point, we'd not been very clearly 2 goals better than them. So they'd probably argue, they deserved a goal back at that point. It was a deep cross, I think, from their right, and the guy got in and he headed the ball down. It bounced up and into the net. So difficult one for Tommy Reed that to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, you could criticise our defence, but you could criticise the defence for almost any goal. I think it was actually quite a well-made goal, well finished by their guy. So they halved the deficit, but at that stage you felt, well, we're still winning, and probably 2-1 to us is about right on what we've seen so far. So disappointing to concede, of course, and not have a clean sheet. But I don't think there was any panic amongst our guys at that juncture.
Yeah, I had 3-0, so I was fuming. but the second goal, the commentators were quite sort of scathing of Tommy, because it did kind of trickle over the line. but I think
Yeah.
it took a deflection and that kind of made him a bit wrong-footed. Or again, am I being overly generous?
Yeah, I haven't analysed that goal. I mean, from our end, it did look like a goalkeeping error, but again, we were a long way off, so it was difficult to judge. It did look as if he might have got something on it. It just sort of, perhaps it was a bobbling one and just sort of bobbled under him. Sometimes those balls are more difficult to deal with than they look.
Yeah.
But, it was perhaps a slightly fortunate goal from Truro's point of view. But they'd probably argue that, they deserve to be on level terms. I actually thought that between their two goals, we had a really good spell. We possibly should have scored again. I mean, Brandon had a great chance. He'd come on as a sub for Foyo. He had a great chance that he put just wide. And I think he brought a very good save from their keeper not long after that. It was a point-blank save. So, we came quite close to going 3-1 up before they got it to 2-2.
Yeah, but I think Tommy also made a couple of saves after it was 2-2 as well. So
yeah,
it was but I mean, he overall his loan has been. I know Jack's now fit, but or getting there at least. What would you be doing? Would you be saying, well, he's got the shirt, or would you be getting Jack back into the side as?
I mean, Jack's our player. Tommy's only on loan, and we know, for example, Jack's very good at saving penalties, although Tommy has saved one for us. I feel slightly more comfortable with Jack in between the sticks, but obviously it's the manager's decision. Tommy's the incumbent at the moment, and the attitude might be, well, until he makes some horrendous mistake, the shirt's his.
Yeah.
But obviously when he goes back to Charlton, I'm not sure when that is. Maybe in January. Jack Sims, if he's not regaining the number one shirt by then, will come back in.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. But the other loan signing that you should never fall in love with a loan player. They keep telling us it's Joey Lakin and Kai Jennings. So shortly after they were 2-2, we're like, oh God, hang on, we now need to hang on here. And Kai was like, no, we don't need to hang on. Just give me the ball and I'll do the rest.
Yeah.
That in front of you guys
seemed to be the attitude. Yeah.
In front of you guys, a good goal. How was the build up to that? How was the moment? I mean, we saw on the highlights, we saw Nick Williams doing his best Mike Cornwall impression, waving his crutches around. But how was it for you guys there? What was the euphoria like?
Yeah, I mean, it came very quickly after their equalised. You said it was 2 minutes later. There seemed to be a determination that, okay, we've let this lead slip. Let's get it back again, which is, admirable, perhaps something you wouldn't have seen, a couple of months ago. And a great bit of build-up play, as you say, involving, 4 or 5 players. Jennings was involved in the build-up. He played the ball out to the right. It came back to him, and he just continued his run with the ball and then just let fly. And the ball arrowed into the net. Another great goal. Two very good finishes from him. So, and of course he was involved in one of the goals against Halifax as well. So he's really proving his worth now to the side. And, I think we'll certainly miss him when he goes, assuming he does go in January. I can see him being a regular in Wimbledon's first team by the end of the season if he carries on playing like this.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of their fans already saying, well, we need to recall him. That's it, get back. I mean, I wonder, would you? Obviously, we're sitting there going, no. But he's doing well. He's playing. He's getting confident. Would you go, or actually, let's bring him into a side where we need him to do something? Or would you say, no, let's let him just carry on doing what he's doing and hopefully come back full of confidence? Don't take him back.
Yeah, I don't think Wimbledon have been in great form lately, so I think there may be a feeling that they need to make some changes. And if they've got a player on loan who's doing well, okay, a couple of levels lower down, but maybe he can pep up their midfield. Yeah. So I suspect they probably want him back in January when his loan's up, but we shall see.
Yeah. So the end of the match, obviously, very happy with that final whistle.
Yeah.
And the players all came over, and I think Jane said the high fives from every player on the pitch he had. So what was that about at the end of the match? It wasn't just a normal clap. They came right over and...
Yeah, I mean, something I was going to mention as the good aspect of the weekend. There seems to be a really good team spirit now. I'm not saying there wasn't before, but it seems to have been enhanced since Chris Agata arrived. You could tell, when Kai Jennings got that winner, the other players ran over to congratulate him. And even though he's only our lone player, he was obviously really chuffed. You could tell by his expression and his demeanour how pleased he was to get that goal. Obviously, it was very satisfying from a personal point of view, but also it's great for the team. We saw something similar when Junior got that goal against Halifax a week ago. The players again came over and they were delighted for him. He was chuffed. And we're seeing something similar now. Both after that winning goal and at the final whistle when the players came over. We were attacking that end in the second half where our fans were. So, and that's where the tunnel was as well at that end. So the players just came over and enjoyed the moments with the fans, and that was great to see, and something we've not been seeing recently for fairly obvious reasons, until the last few games. So that was great, and there seemed to be a real sense of camaraderie now amongst the players, which is terrific to see.
Yeah, and I mean, as someone who does all the long trips, how nice is it, and how appreciated do you feel with Chris almost every away game, making the comments, making the point of talking about the away fans and the efforts they go to and how appreciated they are? How does that kind of make you go, oh, okay, thank you? Does it mean anything to you, or are you just like, oh, that's noise?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get to Morecambe. I made a decision not to go to that one, but I was always going to go to Truro, partly because it's a new ground for me. But yeah, nice part of the country as well, of course. But yeah, there's an awful lot of travelling. Obviously, more for Truro than for us, but given their location. But there's a hell of a lot of travelling this season. Going to four corners of the country almost. You've got Truro, Carlisle, Gateshead, Southend, and a lot of other long trips as well. And obviously, not all fans can make all the away games, particularly the longer ones. You've obviously got the expense, the time, but I think the fact that so many of the fans do make those long trips shows the dedication. And if you've come a long way, hundreds of miles with the team, and you come out and you see 100 fans or so in colours at the away end, that must give you a real boost. These guys have come all this way to follow us. We need to reward them. We need to put in a good performance, not just for ourselves, but for the fans as well.
Yeah, I mean, there was another thing with Eastbourne this weekend. They went away. I can't remember where they went actually, but they lost.
Truro, not Truro. Sorry, Torquay.
Yeah, they lost 7-0. And
7-0, yeah.
They've said the players are refunding the fans. I'm always, obviously, I don't travel, so I've got no real dog in this one, but I'm always really skeptical of that, because you don't go to a game expecting to win. It's part of the thing with football is you don't know what's going to happen. But also, the match ticket is probably the least expensive part of the day.
Yeah.
How would you feel if that had ever happened to us, going, oh, okay, we'll give you a refund?
Yeah, I wouldn't be particularly keen to accept it. You go away, you accept that there's always a chance your team will lose, and maybe even lose heavily. I saw us lose 8-0 at Stockport not very long ago, and there was no question of us getting in. Just for the game, we make a day or a weekend of it. I like going to pubs, as you know. People might like doing the local sites, whatever. If you make a weekend of it or a couple of days away, it's more than just the football match. You don't just, that's obviously the reason you go on that particular date, but it's not just about the football. It's about what you might do before and after the game.
Yeah, and on that note, how was the drinking holes, or how were?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, it was down in Falmouth on Friday evening, which was very nice. some of our fans were staying down there, bumped into them. And then Saturday before the game, we went down to a famous old brew pub that goes back, the building goes back to medieval times. It was originally monastic dwelling, the Blue Anchor in Helston. But there's no railway station in Helston, so we had to get there by train and bus. But 4 of us managed to get there. It opens at 10 on Saturday, had a few beers there, then got a cab straight from there to Truro City's football ground. That was very pleasant. Then a few beers and for me a curry in Truro Saturday evening last night.
Nice. And as you say, there's people that made weekends of it. I know Chris went down to see family, so he's there from Thursday till Monday, I think. But yeah, it's one of those where a lot of people earmark this very early in the fixtures list of, well, we're definitely going to Truro. Chris, not scathing, I'm not going to say scathing, but for him, he was straight away, we didn't play very well. Did you get that feeling that we weren't playing well, or were you more that Truro were playing a little bit better in stages?
Yeah, I mean,
they deserved more.
The first half, wasn't great entertainment. I didn't think either side played particularly well. There wasn't much in the way of goal. I think no player was really catching the eye at that stage. But Truro bottom of the table, so you don't expect a great deal from a side that down there. We have been down there quite recently, so perhaps nobody should have expected a classic. But I think it's indicative of the high standards that Chris is setting now, that even though we won that game, and it was an important away win, our first away win in the league of the season, he still felt that the team was underperforming, they can do better. And had we been playing somebody better than Truro, we likely probably wouldn't have won that. We might have drawn or even lost.
Yeah.
If we played like that at, say, York or Carlisle, we might well have got beaten, perhaps quite heavily. So I think there's a recognition there that although we're improving, there's still a way to go. We're not at the finished article yet. We're not out of trouble yet, and we need to keep improving. And if we're going to go away and win again at other grounds, we probably need to be a bit better than we were today. And without Kai Jennings, would we have won that game? A bit doubtful.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. I mean, he's obviously, as you say, set standards and the rest of it, but it doesn't ever feel like you play badly when you come away with a win. It's never bad. It could be the worst game in the football, but if you come away with a win, you're always doing well. But onto the sort of the bigger picture, the relegation word has been bandied around quite a lot this season so far. This gives us another 3 points. We've had a really good November so far. Is it important to just be winning, or is it more important to be winning against the teams around us? What's your opinion of this 3 points in the context of the season? Is it important because it's now given us a little bit of a gap between us and that dreaded line? I think it's 2 points.
I think it's important, but I don't think we're at the stage of the season where you can talk about 6 pointers yet. So I think it's important to get the wins, not so much against the teams around us now, but against any team we play against. We've beaten Eastleigh and Halifax at home recently, and they're both mid-table sides. And those are the sort of wins that are perhaps more important, because they tell you you can't just scrap for points against this other sides down the bottom. You're capable of beating mid-table sides, and that shows that you've got momentum and aspirations to get up to that part of the table. And then if you do make it there, then perhaps you can build on that and go even further.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, so at the start of the month, I kind of said, right, where do we need to be at the end of the month? And there was 12 points available, and I was like, well, 7 points would be okay, because I was looking at the Halifax game thinking we might not win that. But I was 7 points could be okay. I would most definitely be disappointed with just 7. Looking at that game, firstly, obviously optimistic glasses on. A win there could put us as high as 16th if other results all go our way. How important is next week in the grand scheme of things, especially as Gateshead are dropping like a stone at the moment?
Yeah. I mean, there are dangers in looking at that and saying, "Oh, they're rubbish. We'll just turn up and beat them." I'm sure that won't be Chris's attitude, but there's always that risk if the opposition are in a bad run of form. Your form is a lot better. That you perhaps don't apply yourself in the way that you should. So it's important that I think we maintain or improve our levels of performance even against a side like Gateshead. They've lost their last 4. They haven't won any of their last 6. They're right down the bottom of the form table. But don't forget they won at Wimbledon in the Cup at the beginning of this month. So maybe there's something about the air in southwest London that suits them. So beware. Okay, so take nothing for granted.
Absolutely. But again, with those positive glasses on, as I said, we're now 2 points away from that dreaded line. And we're still only 16 points away from the other line at the other end, just 16 points behind Southend. Is it fair to keep looking upwards, or do we still need to keep looking behind us?
Well, that's the great thing about football. You can study the table, you can look up or down, you can say if we win these games, we're up there. If we lose these games, we're down there. And that's what football fans do. And, there's no harm in it. Some people are more optimistic, some people are more pessimistic. But you play these kind of mind games, if we win this game and these other results go our way, then we're here in the table. Things never seem to work out the way you think they will, but that's all part of the fun of football, and its unpredictable nature just makes it more interesting and more fascinating.
Absolutely. It's definitely, I'm sitting here, well, if we win this, we'd have 9 points. And then, oh, hang on a minute, the other teams are playing. So it just doesn't work out like that. But it has been nice this month, especially where you're able to go, actually, these wins are going to put us into this position. And I quite proud I called it that we're going to be ahead of Gateshead on goal difference by the time we actually play them. So I'm really pleased with that. But before then, we've got Southampton in the National League Cup, which obviously we can't get through on. Now, Chris is very heavy on the momentum, as we discussed. Do you think he's going to go full team, or do you think he'll use it as a chance to bring people in like Jack and Edwino coming back from injury, or do you think he'll just go, no, I want to keep this momentum going?
Good question. If I were him, I wouldn't put out his normal 11, but he's shown in the Surrey Senior Cup he's happy to put out quite a strong 11, if not his normal first choice 11. I would have thought he'd do something like that against Southampton, but who knows? Obviously, the Gateshead game is important and much more important than the one against Southampton, and I would hope he would prioritise that. Obviously, there's a certain number of players he's got to put out against Southampton because of the rules of the competition. You can't change the whole 11, as we know. So that's going to be a constraint. But I would be inclined to think he would make quite a few changes for the Southampton game, and then go back next Saturday to something like the team that won yesterday. Yeah,
you wonder if you'll see the 5 subs been done in the first 30 seconds. Or I'm not sure we'd ever do that. So always ask for predictions. National League Cup, do you have any predictions for the Southampton game? I'm quite happy if you don't, or you're not interested in that one.
Oh God. 1-1.
1-1. Well, AI.
I think it means penalties, doesn't it?
It means penalties. Whatever. AI has gone for 2-1 with Nadders to score, so it obviously knows something a bit more about Nadders' injury than I do. I'm going to go with 3-1 with Boyo to score. Gateshead game, it's gone for 1-0 for Simper to score. I'm going to go for 4-2 because I want a nice goal fest, and I'll put David to score first. Do you have an early prediction for the Gateshead match?
Unusually for me, I'm going to go for a Sutton win. I'm going to say 3-1 to us.
Excellent. Well, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to wrap up this episode of Sutton Podcast. Thank you everyone for their attention and their feedback. Follow, like, thumbs up, give us a review. Thank you, Mark, for going solo. Thanks to
Welcome
for sponsoring. And thanks to you for listening. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. Take care and we'll catch up soon. Bye-bye.
United!